Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is February 20, 2023. The last time I posted a video about metamaterials was back 2 years ago, and today I want to give an update about metamaterials, MMTLP, and the U3 Halt after 70 days. And so as we can see, the delay has been a long time, and basically let's go over some details. So if you want to watch my older videos, they're in the description below. Otherwise, let's do a deeper dive on FINRA and the short interest. So if you go to the FINRA website, they do provide the short interest reporting. You can see right here, they do have the dates, and right here in the top, FINRA requires firms to report short interest positions on all customer and proprietary accounts and all equity securities twice a month. So they have the settlement date, the due date, and the publication date. And if you want to look into this report, I'll put the link in the description below. Otherwise, this is what they have for us. You can look into the specific company you want to get detailed information on. So you will go to the filter, and then you would select what you want to filter by. And what I did was go down to symbol. Under symbol, type MMTLP. And when you do that, it will filter it out, and it's going to load. And it takes a little bit of time, but there it is. It says MMTLP, OTC market, the current short, the previous short, the change, and the percentage change. Okay, so this they have this very detailed report for us if you need to look at it. Now, if we wanted to look at Torchlight, I tried that too, which is TRCH, and you press done, and that will populate as well. It takes a while to load, and there you go. They also have more information regarding the short interest on Torchlight Energy. Okay, so for today's calculations, I'm not going to use the short positions, even though we do know they're there. What I am more concerned about is the failures to deliver, or the FTD. So to look into that, we go to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission website, where they have fails to deliver data, and they have it from February 2004 to December 2022. It contains the CUPSIP numbers, ticker symbols, issuer name, price, and total number of failure to deliver, and these are all generated twice per month. So the data is available twice a month. The first half of a given month is available at the end of the month, while the second half of the given month is available at about the 15th of the next month. So it's about a 2-week delay. So every 2 weeks, there's new data coming out about the FTDs posted on the SEC website. So when we scroll down, it says what you should know about the data file. So the first, it'll tell you the settlement date, the CUSIP number, the symbol, the quantity, the description, and the price. Okay, so they have data to download. They're on zip files, and it goes way back from present to all the way to 2004. And when you look at the what we need for this data is Torchlight Energy information back in June of 2021. Sorry, this is for MMTLP. So MMTLP data from July to present time for MMTLP. So when we do that, we get all the information versus Torchlight. Torchlight was back in 2013. So you need to download data separately for the two different ticker symbols. So that's what I did. I have 2014 for TRCH, and then I have July of 2021 for MMTLP. So when you download it, I downloaded all of them for MMTLP, and in the zip file, you can just click on one of these and they'll open up. And then when it opens up, it gives you all the data for every other company, and you would Control F, you could type in MMTLP. And when you type MMTLP, you do get the information for the FTDs for that date that was generated. Okay, so as you can see, I found all that data, and then afterwards I would copy the information onto a separate file and I will put them all together. They will all say MMTLP and the total added up together. Okay, so just to show you guys how much work this took, a lot of time. Okay, so basically you will go down and then you will look for it, and then if you wanted to compare the numbers, I'm just trying to show that to you guys. So there you can see they match up. So the next one would match up as well. You see that right there, and the dates and everything. So I'm just showing you that I recorded it over to my own file, then I added all the FTDs up just to see how many failed to deliver was created during MMTLP and torchlight energy. As you can see, for MMTLP, the total was 21,159,000 FTDs created for MMTLP. Now we want to do that for torchlight energy, which is takes even more work because this was back in 2014 to July of 2021. So same thing, you will go back here and type torchlight energies, and again it populates. Then I would copy that over to my own folder or file, and in that file I would have it all coordinate added up together, and then we will have a grand total. Interestingly, when you look at all this data, each day has a different number of FTDs. There are times when they go up in the millions. So I'm not going to go into that right now, but then that's how it was all added up together. And for torchlight energy, I had to add it up by Excel because there's way too much data for torchlight energy, considering it went back to 2014. So when I did add all that up, you can see on the Excel sheet, the total was 115,116,000 FTDs, okay? So that's a huge number. And then what we need to now look at is NextBridge Hydrocarbons' recent update on February 16th. So we need to know how many shares are allowed for AST or NextBridge Hydrocarbons. That is 165,472,241 shares that is allowed into AST or NextBridge Hydrocarbons. Okay, now we're looking at the equation that I created, okay? So right here, AST, there should be only 165,472,241 shares allowed into the company, okay? So when you add it all up, the MMTLP was 21 million FTDs plus the torchlight energy 115 FTDs. You get a total of 136,275,794 FTDs. Again, this FTD does not include the short positions, which will actually make this number even bigger. So when I compiled all this information together, I started thinking about the ratios, okay? So how many failed to delivers are there in regards to one AST share or one NextBridge hydrocarbon share, okay? So if you were to do the comparisons, I mapped it out right here. If there was 136 million FTDs compared to 165 million shares of NextBridge hydrocarbon, the ratio is 0.8 to 1, okay? 0.8 to 1. And if you were to do a 1-to-1, obviously the numbers would match up, okay? So now we look into what happens if there was way more FTDs, right? And we all know that. That's why we're in this position right now. There's way too much FTDs created, resulting in a U3 halt, and now they're trying to figure this out. So I did all the math here, and if you were to do a 10-to-1 ratio, then you would have more than 1 billion FTDs that they have to sort out during this whole mess, okay? So that's why I have this mind-blown emoji. So what happens if they go beyond 10-to-1 ratio? So if it's 11-to-1 or 12-to-1, 13-to-1, 14-to-1, 15-to-1, we can see all the numbers laid out right here. Okay, so I at first when I created this chart, I did not think it would go over 10-to-1 ratio. But now, from what I've discovered, based on the CUSIP numbers and the information that was gathered between the community, I think it is within the billions, at least 1 to 2 billions, okay? So in this red box, we do see that there are 105 brokers, and then people did compile all the information about the CUBESIP numbers together, and that was provided on Twitter. When you zoom in, what do you see? You see individual brokers with their CUBESIP numbers grouped together. So we see Robinhood, Wells Fargo, Open Bank, and they're all with the same number, 5919, whatever it is. All right, so what I'm trying to say is that in each individual group, there's about 7 to 8 or maybe even 9 brokerages. And as of right now, we don't know if there's more grouped together in one CUBESIP number, or is it just 8 or 9. So in my theory, based on my calculations, there should be only 8. Now we have information from Mr. Pro Street Art. He's very good. If you want to look at his videos, has a lot of information. He does provide us with that DTC indicated there is 105 brokers. Okay, so again, let's look at the number of brokerages in each group. There's about 8 or 9 of them. I would say 8, and each of them are grouped together based on their CUBESIPs. Okay, so now I'm going to give an illustration, all right? So I created 13 groups. Each group has 8 brokerages, okay? So when you have 105 brokers divided by 8 brokers in each group, you'll get 13 groups. So in 13 groups times 8 is 104 brokers. So you're going to wonder, why is there a 13.125? The 0.125 results in 1 broker. So this makes sense. Altogether, you have 105 brokers, 8 of them in each group, and a total of 13 groups. Okay, so now I want to explain that there could be 13 groups or 8 groups. And if there's 13 groups, they will have 8 brokerages in each one. And if there's 8 groups, there will be 13 brokerages in each one. And the numbers have to come up to be 165 million shares. So when we look into more detail, we do see that if it's based on 8 groups, that would be the minimum. The minimum would be 1,323,777,930 shares. But based on the groupings, there could be 13 groups of 8 brokerages that would come up to be a total of 2,151,239,130 shares. And when this is all added up, that would be the estimated total volume, including shorts and FTDs, okay? So now the problem is, how do you get 2 billion shares down to 165 million shares? That is the ultimate goal. How do you make 2 billion shares into 165 million shares? So now we can check our work, okay? So when we check our work, you get 165,472,241 shares divided by 8 brokers. And each broker has an average to buy back, to close their positions of 20,684 and 30 shares per broker. And then at the end, there will still be 1 extra share to be covered by any broker. Any broker could just cover that 1 share, all right? So we go back to our equation from before. If we take 13 groups of 165 million shares, and there's 8 brokers in each group, then at the end, when there is trading, they will create individual AST groupings, because each group would have 165 million shares. So you will have 13 groups of AST. So at the end, there will be 13 groups of AST that would need to be consolidated into 1 group of AST. That's what I'm trying to show you guys here. So 13 groups of AST, they have 165 million shares each, but then they have to condense it down to only 1 AST, and one AST only has 165 million shares. Okay, so again, I just want to give you guys an overview. The ratio will be 8-to-1 or 13-to-1, and this is very important to speculate. So in this speculation, if it is on the minimum 8 buyers to 1 share, and what I mean by that is if the ratio is 8-to-1, then there is 8 buyers to 1 of your shares. That's a huge demand. You're talking about supply and demand. There is a huge demand and no supply. And the other part is if it's 13-to-1, that's even more extreme. So there's 13 buyers to 1 of your shares. So this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Again, this math calculations and speculations are based on my own findings. And what I'm trying to say is if we do open up to trading, that means your shares are in high demand and selling low wouldn't really make sense. So you would basically make a judgment call on your own. And to close this out, I wouldn't say that it's 100% sure that we are going to start trading. I wasn't even sure if I should even post this video, because if we do know that there's too many failure to delivers, and if they start knowing, if they let us know that, or if they find out that we have more information about the volume of how much needs to be covered, then they might try not to go that route. They might not want to trade. Instead, they might want to settle. So if there is a settlement, I wouldn't be surprised, but I really think that the numbers should be astronomical. It should be very big if there is a payout. That is based on my speculations. And yes, I do think there are more than 1 billion, maybe 2 billion FTDs or shares that are short, and they need to cover all those shares. Well, thank you for watching and listening to my video. Please stay tuned. There will be more information to come shortly.